Welcome to the 12th session of classification and prediction. In this particular session, we will discuss the ensemble method. Those are used to increase the accuracy of a classifier and predictor. So, this session includes our course outcome 6, that is to identify and apply the algorithm and techniques of classification and its application, which covers 3 program outcomes of engineering, that is PO1 apply the knowledge of mathematics, PO5 select and apply appropriate techniques and modern engineering IT tool, PO4 analyze and synthesis of information to provide valid conclusion. The content for this session includes ensemble method increasing the accuracy, that is two techniques, that is bagging and boosting, then comparison of bagging with boosting, ROC curves, and followed by summary. So, first we will start with the ensemble method, which is used to increase the accuracy. Are the general strategies for improving classification and prediction accuracy? So, are there any general strategy we are having which can able to increase the classifier and predictor's accuracy? This is the question. So, for that there are two techniques used to improve the accuracy of classifier and predictor, namely those are bagging and boosting. So, in this session we will discuss the details about how bagging and boosting works. So, each combines a series of K-Lond model. So, here we are using K-Lond model, that is the classifier or it is a predictor, that is M1, M2 up to Mk. So, this M1, M2 up to Mk, each one is one model what is used for classifier or predictor with the aim of creating an improved composition model, that is M star. So, both bagging and boosting can use for classification as well as. Now, we will start with bagging. First, we will discuss about working procedure of bagging. So, for ease of explanation, we will assume at first that our model is a classifier. So, initially we will take this bagging for a classifier. Suppose that a patient would like to have a diagnosis made based on the symptoms. So, here suppose one patient is having some symptoms and he wants the diagnosis. So, instead of asking one doctor, he may visit several doctors, he may ask several doctors. If a certain diagnosis occur more than any of the others, he may choose this as a final or best diagnosis. If a certain diagnosis occurs, suppose the patient is diagnosed by a particular disease by more than one doctor, then he can choose that as a final or best diagnosis. That is, the final diagnosis is based on a majority vote. This is important, majority vote, that means most of the doctors' opinion we are taking. So, where each doctor gets an equal vote. So, now replace each doctor by a classifier. So, you can say here for this example we can take the doctor as we can replace the doctor as a classifier, and you have the basic idea behind bagging. So, majority vote made by a large group of doctors may be more reliable than a majority vote made by a small group. Now, suppose we are taking a group where number of classifiers are more or number of doctors are more. So, there the majority votes is having much more important compared to a small groups of doctor. Now, you can see this figure. This is figure 1, which shows the increasing model accuracy. You can take this here. We have taken a data tuple. Now, we are predicting it for class level prediction. So, M1, M2 dot up to Mk. So, k number of models. So, these M1, M2 each one consider as one classifier. Now, we can have a classification results, and we can combine the votes. So, new data samples, based upon that we are classifying and predicting the class level. So, bagging and boosting each generate a set of classification or prediction model, that is M1, M2 up to Mk. Voting strategies are used to combine the prediction for a given unknown tuple. So, here we are going to vote for the prediction of a unknown tuple. You can able to see here you new data sample where the class level is unknown. Now, given a set D of D tuples, suppose we are having a data set D where D is a number of tuples, bagging works as follows. For iteration I I stands for 1 to k. So it will run up to k number of models. K is nothing but the number of classifier you want to make. A training set di of d tuples is sampled with replacement from the original set of tuples d. So here we are taking the data set d, from where we are choosing a data tuples d for the training sample, and which is sampled by with replacement policy of the sampling. So sampling with replacement is used. Some of the original tuples of the d may not be included in di, whereas other may occur more than once. So in with replacement a copy of the sample will be there in the database. So there is a chance of repetition of the sample. So here we have a chance. Here di is a training set for the model mi, the model 1, to construct the classifier 1 m1. So that in that maybe some tuples may not be present and some tuples are present repeatedly. So a classifier model mi is learned for each training set di. So di is nothing but it includes the training tuples, which is helpful to make the classifier mi. Now to classify an unknown tuple x, each classifier mi returns its class prediction, which counts as a vote. So here once you have used the model, create the model mi, you can put a unknown tuple, suppose the data tuple x, and it returns the class level prediction by the classifier mi. So that particular result can be counted as one vote. The backed classifier, that is m, backed classifier means it's a combination of all classifier, that is from mi, I stands for 1 to k. So which counts the vote and assigns the class with the most vote to x. So we have taken the classification label, that is count as a vote from each classifier starting from m1, m2 up to mk. So the backed classifier, it count the vote and assign the class with the most vote to x. So suppose most of the classifiers has given one label to that tuple x. So that backed classifier will assign that particular class label to the data tuple x due to majority voting. So bagging can be applied to prediction of continuous value by taking the average value of each prediction for a given test tuple. So up to this we have discussed bagging for classifier. We also can use this bagging for our prediction model. How we can able to use, because prediction is used in a continuous valued function where we can take a average value for each prediction. From each predictor we can take the value and find out the average value. So that is the average prediction value for a given test tuple. The backed classifier showing greater accuracy than the single classifier derived from D, the original training data. Suppose we are using a single classifier, the level of accuracy we are getting, already we know that what is how to find out the accuracy in our earlier session. So here the backed classifier shows greater accuracy compared to a single classifier. So the increased accuracy occur because the composite model reduces the variance of the individual classifier. So here we are taking a composite model which reduces the variance. For prediction, it was theoretically proved that a backed predictor will always have improved accuracy over a single predictor. So anyway, for both the case, classifier as well as predictor, that backed classifier or backed predictor has proven as a which improve the accuracy for the classification. Or now here we will discuss the algorithm for bagging. The bagging algorithm creates an ensemble models, that is classifiers or for predictors for a learning scheme where each model gives an equally weighted prediction. So input to this algorithm is D, that is a data set D, a set of D training tuples. D is a set of training tuples in the data set D. K, that is the number of model in the ensemble method, and a learning scheme, that is either you can choose a decision tree or backpropagation, any of the classifier you are taking. The output is a composite model, that is a M. Now the method for the classification by bagging, algorithm in bagging, that is for I is equal to 1 to k, because that iteration will run k times, because we are having k number of classifier. So for I is equal to 1 to k, do create a bootstrap sample di by sampling D with replacement. So first we have to create a DI, that is the data sample which is used for the training purpose of the data set. So how we can able to prepare that? With the sampling technique of D with replacement policy. So use DI to derive the model. Now DI is a training tuple, DI is a data set or partition of the data where we are only having the training tuple, and we know that the training tuple are used to make a model. So use DI to derive the model, that is MI. Now end for. We have to repeat it for k number of times as we are having k number of models. Now to use the composite model on tuple X, if a classification, then if it is a classification, then let each of the k model classify X and return the majority vote. So here each of the k model, so every model from 1 to k, it return a class label for the data tuple X. So based upon that, the bagged classifier, which is a k model classifier, it return the majority vote with the class label. If it is a prediction, then let each of the k model predict a value of X and return the average predicted value. So these things I think I have just explained in our previous slide. So if it is a classification, the majority vote we are taking for the class label. If it is a prediction, we are taking the average predicted value. So with this our bagging over, now we will start with boosting. As in the previous section, suppose that as a patient we have certain symptoms. Instead of consulting one doctor, we choose to consult several. So we have gone through several doctors' opinion. Suppose we assign the weights to a value of each doctor's diagnosis. Now here what we will do, we will give a weight to the each diagnosis, each doctor's diagnosis excuse me, based on the accuracy of previous diagnosis they have made. So the final diagnosis is then combination of the weighted diagnosis. So here every diagnosis is with a weight value. So the final diagnosis is a combination of weighted diagnosis. This is the essence behind the boosting. So this weighted diagnosis concept was not there in bagging, rather it is present. In boosting, weights are assigned to each training tuple. So every training tuple is associated with a weight value. A series of k classifier is iteratively learned. So iteratively with each iteration, the k classifiers are learned from the learning table. So after a classifier Mi is learned, now suppose one classifier we have taken, I stands for suppose 1, M1. So now after classifier M1 is learned, the weights are updated to allow the subsequent classifier, that is Mi plus 1. So if you are having an error, to minimize the error, suppose you are using back propagation, you can adjust the weight and again allow other classifier Mi plus 1, that is M2, to pay more attention to the training tuples that were misclassified by Mi, because we have some misclassification in the previous model. That's why we have improved our model to handle it properly. So the final boosted classifier M combines the votes of each individual classifier, where the weights of each classifier vote is function of its accuracy. So in a final model, after each iteration, you can get a particular classifier which vote functions its accuracy. Now the boosting algorithm can be extended for the prediction of continuous values. So here the boosting can be used for continuous valued function. AdaBoost is a popular boosting algorithm. Suppose we would like to boost the accuracy of some learning method. We are given with a dataset D, suppose, and the dataset of class label tuples are x1, y1, x2, y2 up to x1, xd, yd. So here D is a number of tuples. Here yi is the class label for the tuple xi. So x1, y1 means x1 is a data tuple, y1 is a class label of the data tuple. So like that we are having up to xd, yd. As in the initial slide I have explained, there are d number of data tuples for the class, for the data set D. Initially AdaBoost assigns each training tuple an equal weight. Every training tuple was given with the equal weight, that is 1 by. Now generating k classifier for ensemble requires k round through the rest of the algorithm. So in round I, so here round I means in the first iteration, I stands for 1 if it is. So the tuples from D are sampled to form training set Di of size D. So here in round 1 or round I, the tuple from the D, the data tuples taken from the D are sampled to form the training set. So that training set we are keeping in DI, because that will help you to make your model MI of size small d. So sampling with replacement is we are using here. The same tuples may be selected more than once. So each tuple's chance is being selected based on its weight. So based upon the weight, the chance of the data tuple selected can be. Next, a classifier model, that is MI, is derived from the training tuple DI. Its error is then calculated. So once we have made the classifier MI, now your classifier is ready to classify your data tuple. And how we have made that classifier? Based upon the data tuple from the DI, because DI takes the data tuple which is known as the training tuple. So the error is then calculated using DI as a test set. So same error can be calculated upon the same, it is applied upon the same training set. So the weights of the training tuples are then adjusted according to how they were classified. So every tuple in the DI are associated with some weight. So when we have made the classifier MI, we are applying this classifier in the same training tuple only, the DI. So the error can be calculated and that can be minimized by adjusting the weight of every tuple of the DI. So the weights of the training tuple are then adjusted according to how they were classified. If a tuple was incorrectly classified, its weights is increased. So if we are not correctly, if a tuple we are having in the DI is incorrectly classified, then we are increasing the weight. If a tuple was correctly classified, its weight will be. So these weights will be used to generate the training samples for the classifier of the next round. So after adjusting this weight value, either it will be increased or it will be decreased. So after that, excuse me, after that DI is now ready to apply in the next classification model, for the next classification model. So the basic idea is that when we build a classifier, we want it to focus more on the misclassified tuple of the previous round. So when we are adjusting the weight, always we have to focus what is the error in the previous round. So that means that what is the misclassification rate of the tuples in the previous round. Based upon that we are adjusting. So to compute the error rate of the model MI, we sum the weights of each of the tuple in DI that MI misclassified. So for that the function is error MI is equal to, error MI means error for a particular model or classifier, is equal to J to D Wj, that is the weight associated with the data tuple, into error Xj. So error Xj is nothing but the error for a particular data tuple. So where error Xj is the misclassification error of the data tuple Xj. If the tuple was misclassified, then error Xj is 1. Suppose we have misclassified, we are assigning the value 1. Otherwise, if it is correctly classified, its value is 0. If the performance of the classifier MI is so poor that its error exceeds 0.5. Now suppose the error value exceeds 0.5, then we abandon it. Instead, we try again by generating a new DI training set, from which we derive a new MI. So if we cannot able to adjust, if our error exceeds 0.5, then we should abandon it. Instead, we try again to generating a new DI training set. So then we can derive a new DI set and derive a new classifier. The error rate of MI affects how the weights of the training tuples are updated. If a tuple in round I was correctly classified, its weight is multiplied by error MI into divided by 1 minus error MI. This is the formula. So once the weights of all of the correctly classified tuples are updated, the weights for all tuples, that is include the misclassified one, are normalized so that their sum returns the same as it was. Now to normalize the weight, we multiply it by sum of the old weight divided by sum of the new weight. So old weight it is given and new weight we are generating. So as a result that As a result, the weights of misclassified tuples are increased and the weights of correctly classified tuples are decreased as described above. Once boosting is complete, how is the ensemble of classifier used to predict the class label of a tuple X? So once we have completed the boosting technique, how we can able to how it is ensemble classifier is used to predict the data tuple X. Unlike bagging, where each classifier was assigned an equal vote, boosting assigns a weight to each classifier's vote based on how well the lower a classifier's error rate, the more accurate it is. So if you can say, if improve in accuracy, percentage of accuracy, then we can say the classifier or predictor is a good classifier or predictor. Now if you are calculating based upon the error rate, we should consider the error rate should be lower. So lower a classifier error rate, the more accurate it is, and therefore the higher its weight for voting should be. So the weight of classifier's MI's vote is for each class C. We sum the weight of each classifier that assign class C to particular data tuple X. So the class with the highest sum is the winner. So here the class with the highest sum value of the data tuple, that is winner, and is written as the class prediction for the tuple X. So here the formula for that is log 1 minus error mi divided by error mi. Now we will discuss the steps algorithm for boosting we are using for boosting. A boosting algorithm creates an ensemble classifiers, each one gives a weighted vote. Now what are the input to this algorithm? This is the AdaBoost algorithm. D is the data set of D class label training tuples. Small d is a class label training tuples. K, the number of rounds or one classifier is generated per round. A classification learning scheme. So these are the input, output is a composite model. Now methods for this algorithms are: initialize the weight for each tuple. As initially we have covered, every data tuple in D has been assigned with the equal weight, that is 1 by D. So for I is equal to 1 to K, do, that is for each round we have to do the following, that is sample D with replacement policy according to the tuple weight to obtain DI. Now use training set DI to derive the model MI. So as we have taken the DI with replacement policy, then we are using the training tuples to derive the classifier model, that is MI. Now compute the error rate of MI and the error rate of MI. So once the error rate of MI we have calculated, if error MI greater than 0.5, reinitialize the weight to 1 by D. So we should not adjust, again we have to start from the beginning, reinitialize the weight, that is to 1 by D. Go back to step 3 and try again. And if this is for one process, for each tuple in DI that was correctly classified, if each tuple DI was correctly classified, do multiply the weights for the tuple of error MI is equal to 1 minus error MI. This is the formula. So it is the updated weights. So we are updating the weights for that based upon the error of the classifier. Normalize the weights for each tuple and end. Now to use the composite model to classify the tuple X, initialize weight for each class to 0. Initially we are giving each class to 0. For I is equal to 1 to K, do Wi is equal to log 1 minus error Mi by error Mi. This is the weight updation, weight for the classifier's vote. Now C, suppose C is a particular class where the class is Mi to X, that means the get the class prediction for the tuple X from or by the classifier Mi. So add Wi to weight for the class C and for return the class with the targeted weight. So these are the process for which are used for the composite model to classify a particular data tuple X. Now we have already completed the basic concept with algorithm, how your bagging and boosting works to increase the classification and prediction accuracy. Now comparison of bagging with boosting. Because of the way boosting focus on the misclassified tuples, it risks overfitting the resulting composite model to such data. So therefore sometimes the resulting boosted model may be less accurate than a single model. So sometimes it may be a chance your resulting boosted model is less accurate compared to a single model derived from the same data. Bagging is less susceptible to model overfitting, whereas bagging is less susceptible to model overfitting. So while both can significantly improve the accuracy in comparison to a single model, boosting tends to achieve greater accuracy. And now ROC curves. ROC curves are useful visual tool for comparing two classification models. So here suppose we want to compare the classification accuracy of two models, we can use ROC curves. The name ROC stands for Receiver Operating Characteristics. An ROC curve shows the trade-off between the true positive rate or sensitivity, that is proportion of positive tuples that are correctly identified as positive, and false positive rate, that is proportion of negative tuples that are incorrectly identified as positive for a given. That is, given a two-class problem, it allows to visualize the trade-off between the rate at which the model can accurately recognize yes or the rate at which it mistakenly identifies no in case of yes for different portions of the test set. So the area under ROC curve is measure of the accuracy of the model. So how we can able to identify the accuracy? We have to check the area covered by the ROC curve. So based upon that we will decide whether your classifier is less accurate or it is more accurate. The vertical axis of an ROC curve represents the true positive rate and the horizontal axis represents the false positive rate. Here the vertical axis, it represents true positive rate, that means the positive tuple which are correctly classified as positive, and horizontal axis represent the false positive rate, that is the negative negative tuple falsely it is represented as positive. An ROC curve for M is plotted as follows. How we can able to plot in ROC curve? So that we will discuss here. Initially we will start from the bottom left hand corner where your positive, true positive and false positive, both the rates should be 0. It should be start with the 0. So we check the actual class label of the tuple at the top of the list. Excuse me. If we have a true positive, then on ROC curve we move up and plot the point. So suppose we are getting a true positive, we have to move up as the true positive is shown by the vertical axis. So we move up, and if instead we have a false positive, then on the ROC curve we move right and plot a point. So this process is repeated for each of the test tuple. So we have to process this or continue this for each of the test tuple. Each time moving up on the curve for a tuple true positive or towards the right for a false positive. So we will repeat this process each time for the test tuple when we are moving up for the on the curve and true positive, and towards the right when we are having a true positive. This is a diagram which shows the ROC curves of two classification model. Here in this figure, this is figure 2 where we are having in this plot we are having a diagonal line. So this diagonal line where for every true positive of such model we are just as likely to encounter a false positive. So here for every true positive we are encountering false positive. So the line which shows close to this diagonal line is a less accurate classifier. So the closer the ROC curve of a model to the diagonal line, the less accurate is the classifier model. Now if a model is really good, initially we are more likely to encounter true positive as we move down and rank list. Thus the curve would move slippy up from 0. Later as we start encounter fewer and fewer true positive and more false positive, the curve scales off and become more horizontal. So in order to check the accuracy, you have to see these 2 points. The model is less accurate if the area is closer to 0.5, and the model is more accurate if it is the area is closer to 1. So while calculating the accuracy of a particular model, we have to careful about these 2 points, and you have to count the value, what is the value of the area. And now summary. Bagging and boosting method can be used to increase overall accuracy by learning and combining a series of individual models. The bag classifier shows greater accuracy than the single classifier and it more robust to the effect of noisy data. So here in this session we have discussed two techniques to increase the accuracy of the classifier or predictor. So that are bagging and boosting. In bagging we are calculating the majority voting, based upon that we are calculating the class label, or if it is applied in a predictor we are calculating the average class value for a particular from the k number of classifier used for the model. But in boosting, the weights are assigned to each training tuple. It is different from bagging. Here, along with the vote, we are associating a weight value to each of the classifier, and then we are calculating the classification label or classifier label, class label. The boosting algorithm can be extended for prediction for continuous value function. Significance test and ROC curves are useful for the model selection. So whenever we are using any of the two model or more than two, we can able to see the significance of ROC curve. So based upon the result of ROC curve, it will show you whether the model is less accurate or which model is more accurate. So based upon that, we can able to choose the particular model for our classification work. So with this, I conclude this session. Thank you.